Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something absolutely mind-blowing. We are unpacking a complete, fundamental transformation in how applications are built, pulling directly from some fascinating insights over at the Griffin Hub. Now, if you're a developer, you know the traditional workflow all too well, right? It's a grind, but that grind is changing right before our eyes. We are shifting from tedious manual labor to a workflow that is entirely new and just incredibly fast. We're talking about a paradigm shift so rapid and so absolute that it is completely rewriting the rules of software development as we know them. Whether you've been a software engineer for 20 years or you're a university student just opening your very first code editor, the fundamental way we bring ideas to life is shifting. So today we're going to map out exactly how that
and more
shift is happening.
importantly, what it means for your daily workflow. Let me hit you with a quote from the Griffin Hub that is just a massive wake-up call. They put it bluntly, if you are still writing every single line of boilerplate code by hand, you are completely wasting your time.
Wow, let that sink in for a second. Think about what your day actually looks like. Whether you're pushing code at a full-time job or grinding late at night through university assignments, how much of your time is spent actually solving unique, interesting problems? And how much is spent just typing out the exact same basic structures you've typed 100 times before? Setting up user authentication forms, writing basic CRUD operations, configuring standard routing. Guys, the days of painstakingly typing out repetitive, foundational code line by line are simply over. The landscape has moved on. If you are still doing that manually, you are throwing away your most valuable resource, your mental energy, on the wrong things entirely. Your creativity is literally being bottlenecked by the keyboard. Because of
As we are literally witnessing the
death of the 3-week backend. Just think about the traditional application building process for a minute. For years, the standard operating procedure meant spending weeks, just setting up the architecture before you even got to touch the unique features of your app. You had to carefully configure your databases, set up server environments, write those repetitive endpoints, fight with CORS issues, and build out authentication middleware. It was just this massive, frustrating block of time wasted trying to get the plumbing to work. You'd spend your first 3 sprints just trying to get a basic API to talk to your front end. Well, according to the insights from the Griffin Hub, that agonizing runway is a thing of the past. To zero. Let's make this concrete with a specific case study from the source material. Imagine building a live tracking app for local transport. We are not talking about a simple Hello World to-do list here. You are dealing with heavy, complex, interconnected components. First, you need a functioning map interface that renders smoothly. Then, you need constant, real-time location updates, which means dealing with persistent data connections like WebSockets without crashing the client. On top of that, you need robust user dashboards to display all this dynamic data cleanly. In the real world, dealing with state management for moving targets on a map, all while maintaining a stable database connection, that is notoriously tricky. It's a heavy, data-intensive lift that usually requires careful planning and a ton of specialized knowledge. Put that into perspective. Just a year ago, stringing together those complex components, the maps, the real-time data streams, the interactive dashboards, would require an entire dedicated team of developers. You'd need a front-end specialist, a back-end engineer, probably a DevOps person, and it would take at least 3 weeks of daily stand-ups and sprint planning just to get a functional foundation off the ground. But today, the Griffin Hub notes that by leveraging a single AI coding assistant, that entire 3-week timeline collapses into exactly 5 minutes. One developer, one tool, 5 minutes. It is a staggering, almost impossible compression of time and resources. What used to require a corporate budget and an entire month can now be spun up by a solo developer while they wait for their code editor to update. So how exactly does this 5-minute miracle actually happen? Enter the mega prompt method. You see, the workflow has fundamentally evolved. Instead of asking an AI assistant to write a simple, isolated function like, sorting an array, you now feed it the entire system architecture in one massive, highly detailed command. You don't just say, build me an app. You define the specific tech stack. Maybe you want Next.js with Tailwind and Supabase. You detail the exact database schema, laying out all the tables and how they relate to each other. You outline the user flow, the edge cases, and the component structures all at once. You are setting the entire stage up front. You're acting as the visionary who dictates the whole blueprint in plain English before a single line of code is ever generated. And once you hit enter on that massive system architecture prompt, the workflow completely flips on its head. The AI instantly starts streaming the entire project structure right in front of you. It's an incredible thing to watch, really. It's drafting the front-end components, spinning up database connections, and handling the complex API routing all simultaneously. Folders just organize themselves, files populate with thousands of lines of perfectly formatted code, and terminal commands execute automatically. It's exactly like watching a master symphony play at 100 times normal speed. According to the Griffin Hub, in less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee, you go from a text prompt to having a fully functional prototype running live on your local machine. The heavy lifting is just done. Now, let's slow down for a second because this brings us to the absolute core of today's explainer, the fundamental identity shift. You are no longer just a programmer. You are an architect. Think about the difference between playing a single instrument and conducting the entire orchestra. Your job is now to focus strictly on the logic, the system design, and the high-level decisions. You dictate how the components should interact, what the user experience should actually feel like, and how the data should flow. You let the AI handle the manual, repetitive, heavy lifting of the actual code generation. You are directing the construction, managing the project, and ensuring the structural integrity of the application, instead of getting down on your hands and knees to pour the concrete yourself. Which leaves us with one final, unavoidable question to chew on. Are you ready to stop programming and start architecting? It's a massive shift in mindset, and honestly, it can be a little uncomfortable to let go of the keyboard at first. But it is the only way forward in this new landscape. The tools are here, they're incredibly powerful, and the historical barrier to entry for building complex software has completely vanished. The bottleneck is no longer how fast you can type or how many syntax rules you have memorized. The only limitation now is your own imagination, your understanding of logic, and what you choose to build next. Think about that. And if you want to keep exploring the bleeding edge of tech like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the Griffin Hub. See you next time.